They say they moved on. Like it was clean. Like it was simple. Like you were just a chapter they closed without looking back. You see it in the way they carry themselves. In the way they speak about the past, or don't speak about it at all. In the way they act like nothing ever touched them deeply. And for a moment, you almost believe it. You start questioning your own memory, your own feelings, your own reality. Maybe it didn't mean that much to them. Maybe I was the only one who felt something real. Maybe they really are fine without me. And that thought stays with you. Because it doesn't just hurt. It confuses. But here is something most people don't understand. Moving on is not always what it looks like. Sometimes, it is just hiding. Because real emotions, they don't disappear on command. They don't vanish because someone decided it was time. They don't fade simply because distance was created. Real emotions linger. They settle into the quiet parts of the mind. They stay in the spaces where no one is watching. And what most people call moving on is often just learning how to function without showing what they still feel. They adjust. They distract themselves. They fill their time. They build routines. They meet new people. They create noise around themselves. But noise is not healing. It is avoidance. Because silence is where truth lives. And many people are afraid of silence. Because silence does not let you hide. So instead of facing what they feel, they bury it. Not consciously, not intentionally, but gradually. They convince themselves it's over. They repeat it enough times until it sounds believable. They tell others they're fine. They act like they're fine. But acting is not the same as being. And deep down, something remains unresolved. You see it in small moments. Moments they don't control. A song that reminds them of you. A place they avoid for no clear reason. A memory that appears out of nowhere and stays longer than they expected. They don't talk about it. They don't admit it. They don't even fully understand it. But it's there. Because emotions that are not processed do not disappear. They change form. They become silence. They become distance. They become something hidden, but not gone. This is where ego begins to play its role. Ego does not like unfinished stories. It does not like feeling weak. It does not like admitting that something still matters. So it creates a narrative. I've moved on. It's in the past. It doesn't affect me anymore. And the more they repeat it, the more they believe it. But belief is not always truth. Because truth has a way of revealing itself in unexpected moments. Late at night, in quiet spaces, in moments where distraction fades. And in those moments, they feel it. Not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. A presence, an absence, a memory that feels too real to ignore. And for a second, the mask slips. They remember how it felt. Not just the good parts, but the depth, the connection, the familiarity. And then, they push it away. Because feeling it again means admitting it never fully left. And that is something they are not ready to face. So they continue. They keep moving, keep talking, keep living as if everything is resolved. But inside, there is a quiet contradiction. A part of them knows that something was left unfinished, knows that something real existed, knows that what they felt did not simply disappear. And that knowing, it creates tension, not enough to break them, but enough to stay with them, enough to show up in subtle ways, in the way they react to your name, in the way they hesitate when something reminds them of you, in the way they avoid certain conversations, and sometimes, in the way they check on you from a distance. Not openly, not directly, but quietly, because they are curious. Curious if you truly moved on. Curious if you forgot them. Curious if what they are hiding is something you still feel too. And that curiosity, it reveals something important. They never truly let go. They just learn how to carry it differently. This is the part most people don't talk about. Moving on is not always about forgetting. Sometimes, learning how to keep going, even when something inside remains unfinished. And over time, that becomes their version of moving on. But unresolved emotions, they do not stay silent forever. They resurface in different ways, at different times, because emotions do not follow logic. They follow memory, connection, depth, and anything that was real leaves an imprint that cannot be erased, only hidden. This is why some people seem fine on the surface, but feel something entirely different inside, because what they show is controlled, but what they feel is not. And that gap between what is shown and what is felt, that is where the truth exists. They may not talk about you. They may not reach out. They may not express anything. But that does not mean you are gone from their mind. It only means they chose silence over honesty, because silence feels safer. It protects their image, their pride, their sense of control. But safety comes at a cost, because when emotions are not expressed, they are not released. They remain, and over time, they turn into something else. Not pain, not longing, something quieter, a subtle awareness, a quiet understanding, a feeling that something once mattered, more than they allowed themselves to admit. And that feeling, it stays, not loudly, not constantly, but persistently. And sometimes, that is harder than letting go, because letting go creates closure, but hiding creates distance without resolution. And that is where many people live, not fully attached, not fully detached, just in between, carrying something they don't talk about, feeling something they don't show, remembering something they pretend not to think about, and that becomes their reality. Meanwhile, you begin to understand something deeper. Their silence was never proof that they didn't care. It was proof that they didn't know how to deal with what they felt. And that changes everything. Because now, you stop measuring your worth by their behavior. You stop assuming that their distance meant you didn't matter. You start to see the truth. That sometimes, people don't move on because they healed. They move on because they avoided. And avoidance is not the same as closure. It is just delayed confrontation. And eventually, everyone confronts what they tried to avoid. In their own time, in their own way. But by then, things have changed. You have changed. You are no longer the same person who waited, the same person who questioned, the same person who tried to understand something that was never clearly expressed. You have clarity now, and clarity, it brings peace, because you realize something important. Not everyone who leaves you leaves without feeling something, but not everyone who feels something has the strength to face it. And that is the difference. A difference that defines how people act, not what they feel. So while they continue to hide it, to carry it silently, to live with something unresolved, you move forward differently, not by pretending it didn't matter, but by understanding it did, and still choosing yourself. And that choice, that awareness, that clarity, that is your freedom. So now I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt like someone never truly moved on, even though they acted like they did? Or have you ever been the one who carried something silently, long after it was over? Comment below. I want to hear your experience. And if this spoke to you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Silent Ego.